Hello everyone and welcome to week 1 of the Dean's Family Wellbeing Journey. Today was our first session on 12 weeks of our course, which Tracy's going to run through what we went through on the session, and it was fantastic.
Yeah, we just wanted to share some of it for those of you who weren't able to come this morning, just a few of the key bits that we went through. So the whole idea of the 12 weeks is to build on a lot of the learning that we've already done so far, thinking about parental well-being and how we look after ourselves. And when we do that, when we're in a better headspace, how we're then more able to connect with our kids and just get better outcomes. And so that's the whole idea of the programme, and to get talking about some of the things that trigger us and what we can do about that.
I will go to the next slide.
So right before we started, the main thing was looking at how we keep ourselves well, and we took some time to do some grounding techniques, and we did my favourite one, which was putting the oils together, putting different combinations of oils together so that everybody's got a rollable full of essential oils that helps them feel calm.
I took a photo actually, which is on the page, so everyone got to make their own little rollable.
Yeah, and we talked a little bit about why we do that and how that actually calms our nervous system. We know a lot of the time that we're in fight or flight, and we flipped our lids, and when we can do little things like using the essential oils on our pulse points, it helps calm our nervous system. And we also spent a few minutes just thinking about how important it is, alongside doing physical things to help us feel calmer, more regulated, was about being kinder to ourselves. And we acknowledge that parental guilt is a thing.
Yeah, it's a big thing.
A big thing, but we have to leave it at the door, because actually it's really unhelpful. Nobody gets up in the morning, feels overwhelmed with parental guilt, and then has a good day with their children and achieves good outcomes. So we talked a little bit about how moving away from focusing on some of those negatives and some of the parental guilt, and thinking instead about the qualities that we do have and being more compassionate to ourselves. So honouring the fact that a lot of us have been through a lot of struggles, and we're still persevering, and we're still focusing on our children and wanting the best for them and pushing through. And we just spent a few moments thinking about that and encouraging each one of us really to be a bit kinder and more compassionate.
Maybe pause the video, maybe you can also think about this at the moment while we're talking about it actually.
Yeah, definitely being kinder. So that's how we started this morning, which was lovely, and then the whole room was filled with lovely essential oils.
Lovely smelling, wasn't it?
Yeah, lovely.
So move on to the next one.
So we, alongside talking about using the essential oils, we talked about breathing as a great way of calming down. And because some of the things, when we looked at one of the video clips, which we'll come on to, some of the ways that we can calm our nervous system down, you might feel really awkward or embarrassed about doing, and we were thinking about the practicalities of doing that. But for me, one of the quickest, easiest ways of not embarrassing yourself but calming yourself down is just to quietly just take a deep breath in, and then pause, and then do a longer exhale than your inhale, because when you do that, it really, really does help you become calmer and able to think a bit more clearly. So, and you can do that anywhere. And
I found that one worked well. So with the video, it kind of talks about touching yourself, like maybe on your neck or your wrist, or picking up dirt or something that in your hand, and when you watch it, you'll probably be thinking, oh, kind of thing. But don't let that, some of the suggestions there are just ideas that might work for some people but not others. But like Tracy's saying, like a breathing exercise is what I've put in place now. So a year ago, I didn't have any idea of how to put something in place, but now I breathe, take a big breath and then breathe out. I do think that works. And also the essential oil bottle, I tend to either just roll on or just hold it in my hand. It's just something just to keep feeling, really. So don't get put off by the video. Everyone's got different ways of coping, I suppose you want to call it. So,
and that's one of the best things about doing this journey together, is sharing ideas and what will work and what won't work, and everybody sharing what works for them, and experimenting with different things and going, oh, I tried that, felt a bit silly, so I've done this instead, and all of that. So, but I love that one. And the 4-7-8 breath, if you just remember to breathe out for longer than you breathe in for, that's going to work absolutely. But For those of us who've got busy minds, I like the 4-7-8 breathing, because it's like it focuses my mind on counting to 4 to breathe in, counting to 7 to hold it, and then counting to 8 to breathe out. So that actually works for me in calming my brain down as well as my nervous system. But everybody's different, so we talk later on about different breathing things to use. But that was one of the things that we looked at, was the breathing.
Yeah. If you watched the video though, and you have your own way, share with us. I'd love to know what you do.
Yeah, definitely. Because what we're doing with all of this is we're looking at this idea of, you know, where we are we in the present moment? Are we able to enjoy where we are and what we're doing, or are we actually on autopilot? Are we preoccupied? Are we worried about what's just happened, or what's going to happen? Or we're thinking about bills or doctor's appointments or places we've got to go, or what's happening with the kids' behaviour, or all kinds of different things that we get caught up in. And actually that robs us of being able to enjoy the present moment and being really able to connect with our children and enjoy time with them. And connecting with our children and having those quality moments is the key thing that builds their resilience. So it's the very thing that is so great to do. So we looked at this idea of whether your mind is full of clutter and the hamster wheel of life, or whether you're able to just be in that present moment, and how much more in control you are when you can use some of these grounding techniques to be in the present moment and to clear your mind a little bit of some of the chatter that goes on. So that's where we started from. We looked at the reality of parenting and how it's, it's different than many of us probably thought it might be. How the rose-coloured glasses we had when we looked through the lens of, oh, I'm having a baby, what's that going to look like? I love this quote because I think it's so relatable.
Very relatable.
I quite often you think, oh, I've had a good day, I've managed to get the house cleaned up and this done and that done, and then 3 days later you think, did I ever clean it? Was it ever clean?
Yeah, what happened there?
So the reality of it is never quite what we want it to be, and this is where the parental guilt comes in. But when we get stuck in that parental guilt, when we get stuck in that negative mindset, we are then not able to focus on the moment and enjoy the time that we've got. So it's really important to recognise that actually there's lots of nice things in the present. Yes, it's not how we thought it would be, it's not how we planned it, there's lots of bits that that might not be ideal, and we might feel as frazzled as that woman looks most of the time, but actually there's beauty in all of it, and there are nice moments, and it's about learning to focus on those and enjoy those connected times with our kids. So
you have to bear with me, I'm kind of doing the old I'll make sure I'm on time with you, Tracy, so give me a kick if I'm not doing it.
You're doing great.
This one though.
Yeah, this is my favourite one, our autopilot lady, who just reminds us that 95% of the time we're just on automatic pilot, and we literally are not even thinking about what we're doing. We just automatically, our kids do something and we'll reply in a certain way, or we'll get caught up, right, we've done the school run, now it's dinner, now it's homework, now it's this, now it's that, and we'll just be going on autopilot. And then the 5% of the time when we're not on autopilot, where we are able to focus in the present moment, most of the time we're caught up on worrying about the past or worrying about the future. So we can actually go through big chunks of the day where we're not even focused in the moment, which is crazy.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, so it's thinking a little bit more about that. It's starting to come off that we related it to being on the M1 and just being on this motorway where you're on it and you're going 70, not always, but ideally going 70 on the motorway, and not even consciously thinking about what you're doing. But what we're looking at on this course is actually sometimes it's a lot more helpful to rewire some of our thinking and behaviours and be more in the present moment and travel on some of those A roads and take in the view and do things a bit differently. So
don't be scared of those A roads, take those A roads. Yes, that's what you were saying.
That's what we're doing. Get on the A roads. Yeah.
Done that one. Sorry, I didn't do it.
So for those of you who've no, that's fine.
Okay.
So we're talking about the hand model of the brain, and loads of you, who followed our journey know that we come back to this quite a lot, of idea of flipping your lid, the hand model of the brain, and this video clip, which is so helpful. It really does highlight how we respond in the present moment is without even thinking about it, is impacted by things that have happened to us in our past and how we see things. And actually, when we recognise that and when we see what's happening, we can take a step back, and then we can use our grounding techniques. We can breathe, we can refocus, we can see what's really going on, and we can be in the moment, and then we're able to respond rather than just reacting.
Yeah, we don't want to react. This is the video I was talking about, which I will be uploading after this video as well for you to watch.
Yeah, such a great example.
Is this the last one? Oh, here we go.
Yeah, so this idea of learning to respond rather than reacting, because I think we unanimously agree that when you react, you often can just make things so much worse, whereas when we can step back, take a breath, and then think about what we're doing and how we're responding, and recognizing that all behavior is communication and our children are actually just trying to show us how they're feeling through what they're doing, then we can actually connect to them and get much better outcomes when we're managing their behavior. So we're still addressing some of the negative behavior, but in a way that gets a better outcome.
We understand it's not something that can just be changed straight away, and we'll have a way of doing things like a routine, but it's just a case of us trying to change that a little bit, and then working on a new way or a new pattern where it might work for you. So we don't expect miracles overnight, so don't panic, and work with us with our online sessions like this, and we'll support you. And if you have any questions or want any help, just message the page privately, and I will speak to lovely Tracy, and she will help, and I'll get a message back to you with an answer.
Yeah, absolutely. And to remember, it's a journey. We're all on a journey. Whatever stage you're at, you've never been at this stage before. You've never had this particular child at this particular age, you being in the situation you're in, because every day is a new day. So actually, we do make mistakes, we do get things wrong, we do sometimes flip our lids, we do react, but actually there's a lot of role modelling that can be done for our children when we can acknowledge that, when we can put things right, when we can say sorry. We're role modelling some really great qualities that we want our children to have, and also we're strengthening our relationship with them, because if we get something wrong and then we hold our hands up and we say, actually, do you know what, I got that wrong, let's have a fresh start, let's do it again, what you're actually saying is, I really care about you, I really value our relationship, and I want our connection with one another to be good. So that's a really strong message that we're sending our children, which is so good for building their self-esteem and their self-worth and their resilience. So
I think you mentioned actually in the group about the word sorry, wasn't it? It was just saying, if you know you're wrong, you've done, you overreacted over something, just saying sorry to your child, that word to them was like, we always tell them, well, you need to say sorry, or don't forget to say this, but actually you put your hands up and saying, sorry, I shouldn't have reacted like that. And then that makes them feel a little bit like, okay, kind of got that like heartfelt response kind of thing.
So powerful, so powerful. So we looked a little bit about that, and just the plasticity of the brain, because it's so powerful, the connections that we made. And one of the things that always strikes me is this idea of when we look at like nature and nurture, and actually babies are born with like around 100 billion neurons. But the way that those neurons are connected is through synaptic connections. And those connections, those neurons being connected up, are through their interactions with us in their environment. So we've got such a great opportunity to mould and shape how they develop and become more resilient. And we know now, even as adults, we've still got plasticity in our brains. So even though we might be, we might have our default settings, we might be sort of on this A road, we might be on the motorway and we want to be on the A road, but actually you reframe how you want to do things, you do things slightly differently, you're creating new pathways, and we can all grow and change and develop, and our children can grow and develop in such amazing ways when we focus on our interactions with them and how we connect.
Yeah, definitely. That's basically get on those A roads. Really,
definitely. And there's a little clip on there which we can post. It explains about how powerful those serve and return interactions are in building children's brains, and it's no different. It's fantastic. The brain grows at an amazing rate between the ages of 0 and 3. But whatever age your child is, those interactions you have with them are so helpful in building their resilience. So that's what we were thinking about today. So really, in summary, it was about how we build resilience, how we build our children's resilience, because that's what we want for them. We want them to be adults who are able to form good relationships with other people, have a good quality of life, enjoy their work, enjoy, you know, their hobbies, and have hobbies and interests. And to do that is about creating those foundations, and those foundations come through their relationship with us. And as we become more aware of how to look after ourselves and keep ourselves well and more regulated, and we use some of these strategies, and we can step back and we can respond more intentionally rather than reacting, and think about how we choose to respond to situations, then they become more resilient and our relationship with them is strengthened. So that was really the key things that we covered today as a foundation, wasn't it?
It was amazing, yeah. So so we will post weekly updates on what we do in the room, but just keep an eye out. But any questions or anything, do let us know. And for those who do join us here at the corner, don't worry if you haven't seen some of the content that we've put on here. It will be put up with you next Tuesday. And that's it. Thank you, Tracy, for today.
Yeah, thanks so much. See you next week.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bear with me while I try and get the recording to stop. Let's stop that for a minute. And we'll stop there. Bye, guys.